All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wednesday. It is, it is. It's Wednesday, the 18th of March, 2020, and this is Pondering. Yes, that's right. It's time to ponder. Thank you. Thank you very much. I know. You're excited. I don't blame you. I am too. You can barely tell, but I am. It's a beautiful day out there. Gorgeous morning, and I'm glad to have you with us. This is the Pondering podcast and radio program where we ponder all things. We think them through, and we talk about them. And we do this from an unabashedly, unapologetically, unashamedly Christian perspective every weekday. Yes, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to about 8 o'clock or so Eastern Standard Time. And we're glad to have you with us. Good morning to Leanne. Great to have you with us this morning, my dear. I'll give you a little wave there. There we go. Yep. And anyone else I've missed. Jim, Pastor Jim is here, then all is well. I mean, if Pastor Jim's here, we've reached the pinnacle. We're good. Love you, brother. Hope you're good. So, what do? We think about stuff here. We take the headlines, we take the topics of the day. We have no holds barred on topics, by the way, and we discuss them. We encourage people to think things through. We encourage Christians not to put their faith in a box on Sunday morning and then put it away at the end of the day, leave it there until the next weekend. No, not the way we operate. No, we believe what we believe. The Word of God, in particular, should dictate and inform all that we think, say, or do. And we welcome different perspectives, but we may disagree. We just ask that we not be disagreeable. We don't have to yell, call names, get silly and stupid. We can just disagree, and hopefully we do so based on good facts and reason, not just emotion. So, a lot happening, obviously, guys. I hope you're doing well and staying well. I'm sure some of you are bored, that you're stuck at home, and or the kids are home, or both, which that's even worse, I guess. And I'm sorry about that. I know this is a challenging time. A lot of things being canceled, a lot of things being postponed. We found out yesterday that South Africa has closed the border, so we cannot travel to Africa as planned in April, which is, disappointing. But at least we know. We were kind of on the edge, not sure whether to cancel or go forward, and we had thoughts about and concerns about getting into Zambia, then not being able to get home, although it's a wonderful place to stay, so I guess that wouldn't be bad, but our responsibilities here would fall, and that would not be good. So now we know, and we can plan. We'll probably go this summer with the missions group that's coming from Lifeway Church, headed by my daughter and son-in-law. So we may just rearrange our travel for that time frame. Waiting on word from the airline. I know I can make a change without penalty. The question is, do I have to pick a date now? Because the conference that I was going to participate in will be postponed. The director called me yesterday to tell me that, but he's not sure of the date. So I'm hesitant to just grab a date now and transfer the tickets, because you only get one shot to do that in the next year. So we'll see what they tell us, but basically it'll probably fall at the same time as our group from Lifeway is headed to Zambia to serve, so that'll be good. It'll be nice to be with everybody. Appreciate your prayers about that, and for one another. Good morning to Linda Lou. Great to have you with us, my dear. And Susie's here. Susie's got coffee. All is well. Sarah, good morning. And Susie says, looks like the wedding's off. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, it's tough because of, this whole thing. And there's no doubt in my mind that a certain level of the fear and reaction and some of the decisions being made, even by politicians, is based on hype, fear, and perhaps even more sinister political motives in some cases. But having said that, there are precautions that should be taken to be wise. This thing is nasty, and you don't want to get it, and you don't want to have your family get it. And I guess this, the topic I was going to get into today, might as well dive in now, is this whole thing of being subject to authorities. It's frustrating when you're feeling pressured or commanded to cancel things that you love, that you really want to do, or that you feel like you're supposed to do even. Well, let's get down to, for Christians, one of the most basic things, and that's church, right? Do you cancel, do you not? And what parameters do you use? Now, some would say, well, we ought to obey God rather than men, so we should go to church. Yes, we ought to obey God rather than men. However, the Bible does tell us to be subject to the authorities, and the truth is, we can still assemble without assembling in this day and age, can't we? We're doing it right now, right? We're having a conversation here. We're looking at stuff, pondering things, and chatting about them, and we're not physically present. I don't think you can catch coronavirus over Facebook or some podcast venue, right? So when it comes to church, we can still have a service. We can still gather in terms of worshiping together, praying together, hearing the word, even though we're not physically present. Believe me, I know it's not the best case scenario. But think about people who are shut in all the time because of health reasons. Most of the people that I, care for every day as a chaplain are unable to go anywhere. But today, thankfully, we have the ability to gather via Zoom, via Facebook, via these kinds of vehicles. I want to read to you a passage from Romans, and it's kind of the basis of the idea that we follow those who are in authority in our government, etc. But Romans 13, actually, I don't know if I said 14, I meant 13. But, it's a foundational issue, and then the question just becomes, is there something they're asking us to do that's contrary to what God is asking us to do? Romans 13, verse 1 says, "Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves." Ooh. Ouch. So, if a government authority tells us, hey, don't do this, don't do that, and it's not something that's, going to cause us to break God's law or go contrary to Him, we better do it, because what Paul is saying is it's in line with God. God's put them there, God's given them that responsibility, and we have to respond to it. We might think it's the most ridiculous thing in the history of mankind. We might think that what they're asking us to do is just wasteful. I'll give an example for me that's a struggle sometimes. The tax laws, knowing the waste that exists in local, state, and federal government, having seen it up close and personal. My wife worked for this Department of Revenue Services for a while. I used to manage the state contract for Blooms. I understand the ridiculous bureaucracy and the incredible waste of money. That, you give $1 to the government, you can almost guarantee half of it will be wasted on a foolish decision or several. But that doesn't excuse us. I mean, that doesn't make it right for us to say, well, I'm not paying taxes. I'm not going to do that, because then we're falling out of line with this. We're falling out of line with what God has given us here as far as obedience and being under authority. He says, "For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what's good, and you'll have praise from the same. For he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. He is God's minister and avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. Therefore, you must be subject not only because of wrath, but also for conscience sake. For because of this, you must pay taxes. They're God's ministers attending continually to this very thing. Render therefore to all their due. Taxes to whom taxes are due. Custom to whom custom. Fear to whom fear. Honor to whom honor." And then he goes on to talk about loving your neighbor, and the only thing we really owe anyone ultimately is that love. But so in this context, right, today, and what we're dealing with, if the government says, hey, no gatherings over 10 people, well, we should honor that. Now, we can still gather online. We can still gather via Zoom. We can still gather, those ways. But we should try to obey and be subject to them with regard to larger gatherings. Now, I've heard different numbers, and honestly, I'm not even up to speed with what the local Connecticut statute is or request, whether it's been treated as more than a request. I've heard things about churches or groups gathering of over 250 that there's a fine involved and penalties, and so that's more than a request. Then I heard it drop to 50, then I heard it drop to 10. But I think the 50 and the 10 were more suggestions than commands, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, what I'm saying is if the government says don't, we should probably not do it. As much as we might disagree or think it's not necessary or that it's overkill or that it's hype and hoopla or it's something else, we really should be in sync with it. And that's hard. So, my encouragement is that we pray more, we spend some time with God. What a concept, right? That we encourage one another online and through other venues we have, whatever venues we have like this. And I think that's all a good use of the time that we're going to have. Now, I'm still in a bit of a work quandary in that some places will let me in as a chaplain, others will not. So when I get a list from my company of who is scheduled to be visited, I have to call and ask the facility, am I able to come in? And in some cases they say, yeah. In other cases they say, no. And in some cases they say, well, it depends. Is this an urgent need? Is the patient actively dying? Those kinds of questions. And so I have to kind of, I guess, parse each one individually. But we'll get through this, guys. We will. I have no doubt that God is going to intervene and that we're going to be okay. We just have to be wise. So, having said all that, yeah, Linda says small life groups. That's right. That's all cool. Most of those are 10 and under. So we're good even with the suggestion, huh? And Susie, you should tell the kids, go ahead and have the wedding. Let's just broadcast the sucker. Let's get it out there. Let's get a PR agent. Let's Facebook live stream this thing. Could be the event of the century. I'm kidding partially, but not completely. Why not? But anyway, I'm sorry about that because I know how, for ladies in particular, brides and mothers of the bride, it's very difficult, and it's a beautiful thing and something you look forward to your whole life. And well, hopefully they can do something later, maybe in the summer, and have a celebration. So we'll pray this thing is over by then, and we can do that. But I'd love to hear you guys how you're doing. We're delivering food to the food bank today. I've got some work I can do and will do from home, and some phone calls to make. And we have a church staff meeting this morning, which I'm not sure if I'll make that, but I'm going to try to at least be phoned in so we can make some plans for the weekend and see how we're going to approach this Sunday. And some of the things we wanted to accomplish, we may have to postpone. We'll see. Hey, good morning, Jose. Great to have you with us, my friend. So, yeah, how are you guys? How are you faring? Are you staying healthy? Are you taking precautions? What are some of the things you're doing to sort of fill the time and get through this and stay in a positive attitude? I mean, it is hard when you're reading Facebook and you get these posts from people on both sides of the equation. This is the confusing thing, right? You get posts from people that say, on one hand, this thing is much bigger than what we've been told. We've been lied to. Oh, it's the Black Plague on steroids, and and there's a lot of fear in those posts. And then there's the other side where people say this is a cold. This is hype. I don't even know anybody. Nobody knows anybody that has it. This is all a sham. Blah blah blah. I think the truth is usually found in the middle. It's a serious illness. However, it's probably not the Black Plague. And so we need to be careful, but we don't need to go crazy and be terrified. I think that's probably, normally in these situations, that's where the line ends up being drawn, and that's usually where the truth lies. But I've heard both, and I've seen both, and as you scroll down through this, you get sick of it too. You're like, ugh. And you turn on the TV, and it's, wall-to-wall coronavirus coverage. You would think nothing else is happening in the world, according to CNN, except the coronavirus. And the president's mishandling of it. That's the other thing that CNN will tell you, which I don't think he is mishandling it at all. But that's the storyline, and has been from the beginning. Susie says we're doing a life group tonight. That's right, and I'll tell you about that. If you want to join in, you're welcome. We are studying through 1 Corinthians, and we are what are we, Suze? Just over halfway through. We're chapter 9. Middle of chapter 9, but you are welcome. Excuse me. If you'd like to join in, you can simply do it from home on your laptop or with your phone. You can even dial in and listen. You don't even have to do the video if you don't want to. We use Zoom, which accommodates both venues, both audio and visual, if you'd like it. And to get plugged in, to get a link and or phone number, send an email to Joel, Joel, at lifewaych.com. Joel at lifewaych.com. Will be meeting from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, when you send a link, when you send me the email, tell me if you want the link for both audio and video, or if you just want the phone number to dial in. I can give you both if you want, or either or. Joel at lifewaych.com, and we'll get that to you. And we will be gathered this evening electronically, and some of us in person at Susie's house. Susie's trying to get the whole world over there because she's a rebel. She's a rebel with a cause. I'm kidding. But we usually get about 10 people total, so even if everybody came, we'd be legal. She says, I have coffee. That's right. There you go. The ultimate enticement. And usually there's often some other goodies floating around there too, huh? So that's tonight, and that's how some of us are spending the evening, which will be good. And I know, like I mentioned, Karen's off half the day. She's working from home now. The schools have decided to teach from home. So the new strategy and plan is for Rocky Hill, I think Newington as well. Keep the same school schedule, but not gather the kids again the rest of the semester. Basically, they're all going to be distance learning, all learning from home. Online stuff, online counseling, online meetings, the whole shebang. So Karen learned the system yesterday for all that, and she's using it today to counsel some of the kids and meet with parents, etc. And she's doing it from the comfort of our dining room table. So that will be her day for the most part, and somewhat mine too. Good morning, Wayne. Blessings to have. It's great to have you with us, my friend. Hope you're doing well. So that's us. What about you guys? What are you doing? Are you going to work? Have you been canceled? Have you been asked not to come? I'm not allowed to go into my office. We have a new chaplain that started up in Springfield. I was only able to talk to him on the phone. They don't want anybody in the office. And again, it's just an awkward time in terms of getting some of those things done. But we met by phone. We're doing stuff online and making the best of it. Yeah. So what about you? What about you over there, ponderers? Are you going to work? Are you not going to work? Are you allowed to go to work? Are you not allowed to go to work? Have you thought about this supposed, I don't know if I'm understanding it correctly, $1,000 check we're going to get from the IRS or from the government to help us over the hump for those that have lost revenue or income because of the virus? Have you thought about what you're going to do with that? We at Lifeway Church would happily take your donations if you don't know what to do with it. I'm just kidding. Calm down. Just relax. It's a joke. It's funny. It's not. Anyway, yeah, I'm curious about that. What you think you're going to do with it, and how you will spend the cashola. I was going to tell you something. Oh, just so you guys know, if you are interested in getting involved with the live stream of our service at Lifeway, you can do that. We have two services, 9:30 and 11:15. 9:30 and 11:15 a.m. Sunday morning. It will be on Facebook, the Lifeway Church Facebook page. So you can join in that way. We also post it, so you can always watch it later, too, if you're not able to join us at either of those times. You can find out more at lifewaych.com or the Lifeway Facebook page, or by calling 860-436-9216. 860-436-9216. And if you want to contribute here and continue to stay in touch here, even after the show, you can post on our Pondering Radio page. You can email ponderingradio@gmail.com, or you can call us at 860-500-7163. 860-500-7163. 888-866-3663. All right, let's see. Got some comments coming in. Sarah says, all is well in our house, still for cleaning. I have some clients that want me to come still and some who don't. So you just take a day at a time. Yeah. You would think they'd want you to come more, Sarah, because of what you do and how it would keep them safe, but maybe people just aren't thinking. Yay, Karen. Linda says, yeah. I think I'll keep my wife. She's pretty cool. Susie says she's going to buy toilet paper and hand sanitize. Thank you, dear. Yeah, just all day long. One massive toilet paper. My son told me last night they looked up a Lysol, price of Lysol via Amazon, and it was like $52 for a spray can of Lysol or something crazy. Somebody bought it out and they're reselling it. Hey, entrepreneurial spirit, I guess. Leanne says, heading to work in a few minutes. Some banks are closing their lobbies, but so far we're remaining open. Yeah, I've heard that money, the virus can survive on certain surfaces for a long time, and they were saying that actual cash is one of the most dangerous things. I went through a drive-up window yesterday up in Springfield, at Wendy's, at lunchtime, and the guy had gloves. He wore plastic gloves, to handle my cash. I gave him a credit card, or debit card, but he used gloves, and they use gloves in serving the food. And yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get it. Sarah says, videoed by yours truly. That's right. Sarah does our video on Sunday morning, our live stream video. So if you have any complaints, send her. No, I'm just kidding. Sarah's like, no, it's tough. It is tough to do that because we are at the mercy of the internet, Wi-Fi, multiple technical pieces of equipment that I don't understand, not just a camera, in terms of the sound. And then, of course, Facebook itself, but it comes out pretty good most weeks. We're going to try to do music and other stuff this week. Often we don't because the music just sounds terrible when you run it through all that. We're making some changes, some tweaks to our video program to allow for some in-house projection as well as for just improving the quality of the sound for those that watch at home. So that will be coming. I don't know if we'll have that all done by this Sunday, but it is coming. Yeah, videoed and recorded by Sarah. Linda Lou says, I'm starting to transfer work to homework. That's funny. Yeah. Homework, there you go. I know, it is a different time, and it's hard to plan. We're supposed to have our 40th high school reunion. And I was a child prodigy. I graduated at age 2. Okay, just want to clarify that. Yeah. Not. Anyway, we're supposed to have that this summer, and we're up in the air about that. I was supposed to teach a class in Pennsylvania in April. I'm not sure about that. It's just a one-day deal. Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty. So we hang on to the Lord, we pray, and we keep on trucking, right? One day at a time, one moment at a time, with lots of hand sanitizer. Leanne says cash contamination is debatable. It's treated with an acid that kills bacteria. Oh, I didn't know that. But the older the bills are, the less effective, yeah. So there's a valid concern. We just don't know how great the risk is. So, so many unknowns. Yeah, many unknowns right now. Yeah, I know. And you hear so many different things. You hear it can't live on any surface. Then you hear it can on certain surfaces for hours. You hear it's not airborne. Then you hear it is airborne. The bottom line is we really don't know. There's a lot we don't know about this. And so, you just, like we keep saying, as Jesus said, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We take precautions. We're not stupid. We don't put ourselves at risk. But at the same time, we're not trying to be mean. We're not trying to politicize. We're not trying to attack. I think President Trump and Vice President Pence and their team are doing a great job of trying to stay ahead of this. Some people have criticized them regarding test kits. But as I said yesterday, my understanding on test kits is that if you have symptoms, it may be helpful to let you know whether or not it's corona or COVID-19, more specifically. But before that, There's a lot of question and doubt about whether or not you'll even show up as positive if you haven't had symptoms yet. Some people never show symptoms. They get it and they don't get sick. So then, who do you test? Do you test the entire population of the United States? The amount of money that would take, the amount of time, and the risk it would put us at, all running to test centers, is astronomical. So that can't be the answer. But they are ordering more tests. They're gathering more tests. And if you do have symptoms, it wouldn't hurt to check it out. It makes sense to do that. But, I don't think that this thing is spreading because of the lack of test kits. Let me put it that way. So I would say, as God's people, we remain faithful. We trust Him. We pray. We take precautions, and we help and serve. We're not hoarders. We're helpers, as we said earlier this week. And we're subject to the authorities. If they tell us to stay home, we stay home. And make the best of it. Hey, I like my house. I like my wife. My dog. I don't know if he's getting tired of us, though. He might be a little bit. Coda? He's just sleeping now. But I don't know. You know how he has the house to himself all day? Now he doesn't? I'm not so sure. No. He might be like, can you please go to work? Just get out. Come on. This is my domain here. You guys are really crowding my space. I don't know what he thinks. He hasn't told me. But nonetheless, guys, hey, in all seriousness, stay in the Word, keep praying, keep pondering, as we always tell you, and don't fear. God is with us. I was reading this morning the story of Jesus walking on water, and when the disciples saw him coming, they were afraid. And he said, don't be afraid. I'm here. I'm right here. And I think he's telling us that today, too. Don't be afraid. I'm right here. He promised never to leave us or forsake us, so he is right here. So God bless you guys. We will see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And keep smiling, will you? It's okay. We're going to get through this. Bye for now.